Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today is the third thumbnail for the Star Wars series that I'm working on my other channel. As you can see here, I'm just doing a little bit of line work. It gets a little confusing with their hair, the way these Lego shapes are made. I'm actually separating planes when I put in these lines, which I don't know, maybe you guys can follow it pretty well, but it was confusing me, and I'm the guy drawing it, so it'll make more sense as we get along, especially once we start throwing color in there. It'll definitely make sense. And right now, you are actually looking at this image upside down. And there's a good reason for that because Luke himself is upside down. And I like to, I use an Intuos 4 tablet, and it has controls on there that lets me rotate the canvas really easily. You've probably noticed that in some of my other videos if you've watched them. And you'll see here, I flipped it right side up. This is how it's actually going to be displayed because Luke is being picked up by the monster in the trash compactor. I can't remember what the thing's name is, like a Dagon or something like that. I don't know. But here I am. I just went through and I'm just doing like random shapes on the side. Sketched all that stuff out super quick. Wasn't really too detailed about it. Didn't actually care to be too detailed about it because it's not the most important aspect of this image. And for me, that's an important part when I'm actually creating these images. I don't want stuff that is scenery, background, or secondary elements to be as detailed or as interesting as the rest of my image. And you see, I'm just adding a pink flotation flamingo just because it goes along with the quirkiness of the video game itself. If you guys have played the game, or maybe you have kids that play the game, or somebody's played the game, the Lego series are very quirky and funny, and they're actually a lot of fun to play if you enjoy some funny, quirky humor. I've found this is the first Lego game I've ever played, and I've found that it's actually a lot of fun. I can't wait to play it with the kids. So you see me, I'm still just doing background stuff. I'm implying a lot of things in the background. Obviously Legos, because that's the theme, and they're actually in the video game. Everything is Legos. It's super cool. And I'm just going through and doing a bunch of quick detail, or well, it is detail, but it's not like serious detail. It's like sketch detail. And I'm including this all in the background. I think it's gonna create a nice element once I'm done with the image itself. I actually really enjoyed creating this image. I had a really good time. This is an iconic scene from when I was a kid in the actual real movie, and I remember as a kid feeling the energy and the panic, that was going on at this time, and I don't know. This was just a really fun scene for me. I really enjoyed recreating it. So you see me here working on Han Solo, and I started with like a little grimace, where it shows his teeth and stuff, but I was like, nah, that's not Han Solo. He's just gonna have like a concerned look on his face, not an angry, more a look of like concentration, because he's about to start blasting the monster that's got Luke. You see me just going through, doing my line work, and you see I'm not doing anything special for my line work, other than like on Han and Luke himself and the monster. I add a little bit of wider lines at the bottom to imply weight to the images and shadow. It's a really good way to bring your sketches and your drawings to life. Just any place that you think that there might be a shadow, it's good to do it a little bit darker. Or intersecting lines, you can do like a thicker line coming away from where two intersections meet. You have to be a little choosy about it. You can't do it everywhere, but it definitely helps to bring your images to life and make them just more interesting. You don't want the same static width line the whole time unless you're going for a specific look. And you notice all those lines in the background are just super sketchy. There's nothing like accurate or precise about any of those. And here we go. This is where the fun starts. I'm just slapping in collars. Now the scene in here is kind of a red collar, like reds, a lot of red because of the red lights and like orangey collars. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for a nice vivid red orange collar scheme throughout this entire thing. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to stick with. But then I start thinking, you know what? I'm going to do my normal thing and just start trying to slap all sorts of different colors in here. And you'll see that with Luke's face here. Like I start out kind of static and I'm like, yeah, I'll just stick with the red kind of color scheme. And then like, I'm like, no, we got to bump this up a notch. So I just start slapping in purples and blues and greens and yellows and just all sorts of stuff in here, which is so much more fun for me rather than sticking with flat collars. I love this because I just get to go around my collar wheel. And you notice I'm keeping my colors on the lower end of saturation so they still kind of go well with one another. It doesn't get out of control. I'm staying pretty far away from the right side of that square box up there on the right. You'll notice that most of those colors are fairly gray. And that kind of pulls everything together because they share that common neutrality. Whenever you're doing images, if you have like a common color that you can kind of mix throughout, then they'll all feel more cohesive as long as you're getting your values correct. Because you notice those colors I put in Luke's face, they just don't seem to go at all. You know, I got like a bluish purple, I got green, I got yellow, orange, red, and his hair is like a purple color with orange and yellow. And you'll notice I'll flip to my value layer off, fairly regularly here in just a bit. You'll see me flipping back and forth. And as long as your values look good when you switch to your value layer, the image just seems to work. At least it works for me. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this image. I had a lot of fun with it. And it was basically just me just slapping all sorts of colors on there, trying to come up with as many different variations of color schemes as possible. I want to admit something here, as I've struggled with color. As an artist, I've always been really good with my value scales, pencil work, graphite, charcoal, all that sort of stuff. Like black and white and grayscale was my thing, and I have struggled for so long with color until I just decided to just start playing with it, And the most important thing that really helped me out was not to pick saturated colors to begin with. Pick desaturated, middle of the road colors. You could even go less saturated than what I'm doing, and eventually just raise them up if that's something you're more comfortable with. But for me, this process is working great. I love it. It allows me to add so much more variety to my artwork, and frankly, it's a game changer for me. And I'm just going to continue to keep pushing this as much as possible. Now, there are some impressionist painters out there that use a lot of brush strokes, where they get a lot of their points across. They convey their message really well in their brush strokes, and I want to study them some more so that a lot of my images can contain just a lot more brush strokes, be a lot more loose and brushy and colorful. And for now, that's one of my main goals, just make fun images with a ton of variety. That's what I'm all about right now. And you'll see, like, as I'm doing this stuff, that's obviously they're in water down there, or some kind of fluid. I don't know that I would necessarily call it water. Maybe trash juice / septic stuff. I don't know. I don't know what all they fell into down there, but I'm adding like a reflective surface to it. I'm not really changing a whole lot with the colors that I previously laid down, because they have some nice textures in there and color variation. And I'd mostly just want to add reflections from like that little ducky I just did, from the monster, and you'll see some coming off of Han here soon. Now I'm working on this monster's eye, and you'll notice how yellow I made that. I'm adding some extra colors around it just because. But I'll zoom out here and I'll be like, wow, that eye is just pulling way too much attention. So I add some of that yellow to both Luke and Han there, and I'm like, that eye is still pulling too much attention. Like, it was bugging me. So you'll see I'll go in here and kind of dull it down to more of an orangey color so it fades in just a bit. I didn't do a whole lot, just a bit. It is a big point of focus in this image, so I didn't want to push it too far back. But sometimes you just have to go through and make adjustments. And here I'm doing his black weapon, and I'm sitting here thinking, this can't just be black. That's no fun, So here I am, I'm adding like a greenish blue, and just going through, and I put like a darker blue in there, adding purples to it, and now I'm happy. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I want. And I didn't want to overwork it, so I left a little bit of that orange on top to imply kind of light reflecting down. And Han's hands have like light reflecting up. You see there, I'm adding that reflected look to him. Adding more reflection to that monster's tentacle over there. A little bit of depth to the ducky down there. I struggled on this tentacle a little bit because it varied from the scheme that I had working on the left and the right. So you'll see me go through and make some changes around here. Right now I'm just kind of staring at it like, what do I do? What's going on? And sometimes you'll have that during the creative process. You just have to sit there and let your brain kind of cycle through. More reflection, which I love. I think it all worked out really well. And I tried so hard not to overdo anything. I just kind of let it be, let it kind of do its own thing. And I'm not wanting to bring this is a pink flamingo, so it's going to grab some attention, but I tried not to play with the collars too much on that because I didn't want it drawing too much attention. Which, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have added a few more collars just for fun, but that's kind of my thing that I'm going with right now. And in the background, not a whole lot more is going to change except for adding a little bit of depth. And I'll add some variation to the wall in the background because in the video itself, it has quite a bit of variation. And I didn't put near as much variation because I didn't want that much detail in the background. Remember, this is going to be a small thumbnail, so I wanted to represent the things I'm most interested in quickly and efficiently. Like Luke, firstly, he's the most important in this image. And then possibly the monster, which is looking at Han, which is looking at Luke. And then the monster draws your attention again, and hopefully people concentrate on those images. But I really love this one. I hope you guys liked it too. I'd love for you guys to leave me a comment or a like. But at the end of the day, I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.